Imagine if you had access to a property millionaire that could answer all your questions every single week. Well, guess what? I've got some good news for you. That's exactly what you've got right here on the Samuel Leeds YouTube channel. Hey, what's up? My name's Samuel Leeds, and in this video, I'm going to be answering your questions around property investment. So usually, if you're not getting the results that you want in property, if you're not financially free, if you're not a property millionaire, it's because of something that you don't know. So think about it. Imagine if you had access to a property millionaire that could answer all your questions every single week. Well, guess what? I've got some good news for you. That's exactly what you've got right here on the Samuel Leeds YouTube channel. So you want to be successful? All you need to do, number one, is you need to subscribe to the channel. Number two, you need to smash the like button. And then number three, you need to comment and ask your questions below, and I will answer them on the next Q&A Sunday video. And while you're liking and while you're commenting, I'm going to be answering some of last week's questions. So Sam Biggerstaff says, should I do a few rent-to-rents to get me started before going legal in deal sourcing? What would your best advice be? So Sam, great question. So it sounds to me like you've not got any money, which is cool. There ain't no problem with having no money as long as you're learning the skills and you're doing something about it. So you've got no money and you're saying, should I get a few rent-to-rents to get me started and then put that money into becoming a compliant deal sourcer? I may have misunderstood the question, but if that's what you've asked, I probably would say, no, don't do that. That's the worst thing you could do. And I'll tell you why. Because it costs money to get a rent-to-rent. You're going to need a deposit, you're going to need some contracts, you're going to need rent to the landlord. So if you've not got much money and you're thinking maybe I'll do rent-to-rents and get some money and then put that into becoming a compliant deal sourcer, I wouldn't do that. What I would do is this. I would find somebody who's already a deal sourcer, who's already compliant, who's already got their company established, who's already up and running with investors. These people are everywhere because I train them. I train thousands of people to become successful deal sourcers. And I would say to them, I would literally just say, hey, what are your investors looking for right now? Oh, they're looking for HMOs in Birmingham. Oh, they're looking for this. If I can find a really good deal for you to pass to your investors, would you give me a percentage of the fee? And let's say they say, yeah, I'll give you 50% or even 25%. The average deal sells for £3,000. You sell one or two deals like that, then you can become compliant yourself. You can start advertising, marketing. The best and quickest way to get money from property is through deal sourcing, quick cash. And then once you've got a bit of cash, put that into rent-to-rents. That's my advice. Hope that helps. All right, next question. Victor Jose Monterey Ortiz says, quick question, who usually pays the council tax in a rent-to-rent and rent-to serviced accommodation deal? Great question, super important. You know this stuff so that you can budget and you can forecast your deals. So the council tax is usually paid by the person living in the house, okay? So firstly, what is council tax? Council tax is a sum of money. It's fixed. You can find out what it is by just Googling the area, the postcode. You can find out what council tax band it's in, and it will tell you how much you're going to have to pay. It's a monthly amount of money you pay to the local council, which just covers things like your wheelie bins and stuff like that. So usually speaking, the tenant, the person living in the property, will pay the council tax. If the property is empty, then the owner of the property will pay the council tax. If you're doing a rent-to-rent, namely you're renting it from the landlord and then you're putting tenants in, then it depends on the types of tenants. The landlord probably isn't going to pay it. The landlord actually is never going to pay it. The council tax is either going to be paid by you or by the person living in the property. Now, if the person living in the property or the people living in the property are on service accommodation, if they're like guests that are in and out, then they're not going to pay the council tax because they're in and out. They're just going to pay you a supreme, super high rate of being there, which is going to obviously contribute towards all the costs and also your profit. So in answer to your question, if the property is a rent to serviced accommodation, generally speaking, the council tax is going to be paid by you. Hope that helps. All right, next, Mr. S. Mr. S says, I've watched you for years and have been to your free training. Although my question is, if there's some people that have been on your academy and have had one-to-one training with you, why are they not financially free? That's a great question, Mr. S. Generally speaking, people that do my mentoring, my advanced training, the vast majority of them do go on to achieve financial freedom, do go on to achieve a lot of success. And we have, I hold myself accountable. I have independent surveyors that come in and do a whole independent surveys with all of my advanced students. Does that mean that every single person that ever pays for a course or does mentoring with me, every single one of them has the ultimate success and has ultimate financial freedom? Not every single one does. And, I try my best. On the academy, for instance, we have mentoring, coaching. They have invitations to come to my house. We have very, very, very advanced accelerated coaching, training and mentoring. And as a result, I think we probably have the highest success rate in the entire country, probably in the entire planet, of people that come through and people that succeed. But no, not every single person succeeds, and it breaks my heart when it happens. It does happen occasionally, but the vast majority do. So I hope that helps. All right, Luke Walker. Myself and a business partner are wanting to get into property investment within 1 to 2 years' time. We want to eventually make it our only source of income. What would you suggest the best course of action is to take within different types of property that can be invested in, and the minimum sort of funding needed for getting the ball rolling? Okay, so what I'd probably say, Luke, is you say your business partner. Depends on how your business is going at the moment. If you and your business partner right now are making decent money in whatever business you're in, I would probably suggest that you focus most of your time in that business. Because if that business is working, if it's successful, if it's making good profits, then you'd be silly to then be like, oh, let me try and do a bit of deal sourcing and try and do a rent-to-rent, and let me also try and do this and this. And you want to focus down. So I wouldn't try and do the strategies that are entrepreneurial within property. I wouldn't try and set up a property trading business. I'd focus on your actual business. Now, the profits that you make from your business, I would put them aside and I would then invest them into property, but that's going to be passive. Okay, you're going to just be investing them into buy, refurbish, refinance. You're going to be paying a team to do, but that's going to be passive. Then you've got your active income from your business, and then you've got your passive income from your property. And the idea will be that over the years that the property business would replace the passive income, would replace the active income in your business. So you've got complete financial security and stability. Now, if your current business is not making very much money, if you're struggling to make ends meet, then I would probably consider scrapping that business and going full-time into the property business, which will involve very little money because you're going to be using strategies like deal sourcing and rent-to-rent, all these strategies which are very, very lucrative, but do take time. You've got to roll your sleeves up. So that's generally my advice. I'd love to get to know you a little bit more so I can give you more bespoke advice. I hope to meet you. If you want to meet me at one of the training days on the house, tickets in the description. Okay, so I hope to see you soon. All right, a few more questions. We've got John Robinson. I was wondering if you have any experience with purchasing council properties on behalf of the current tenants. My grandparents can get their house at a very low price, but are too old for a mortgage. I'd like to help. Josh, that is a great question. It's something that I've thought about for many hours. I've considered, I've toyed with, I've met a lot of people in a similar situation as your grandparents, but I've never done it. So I can't really give you advice on this apart from to say, I hope you find a way. And if you find a way, message me on Instagram and let me know, because basically your grandparents, because they own the property and they've lived there for years, they've got the right to buy at a huge discount. But if they can't afford to buy, but they've got this opportunity of a discount, what can you do? I was thinking about doing like a lease option. So saying, look, I'll loan you the money, you buy it, and then I'll have the option to buy it back. But it never happened in the end, it fell through. And let me know if you come up with a creative way, because I know a lot of people that got right to buy but ain't got the money. So let me know. All right, Razvan Gabriel. I'm about to buy my first house on a residential mortgage and my lender is happy with me moving 2 lodgers in there. My question is, can I get those 2 lodgers on short stays from Airbnb, booking.com, thanks. As long as there's nothing in your contract that says that you can't have short stay lets, if the lender's happy for you to rent out the rooms and have lodgers, I can't see why it'd be an issue, but it really depends on what the terms are of your mortgage. Maybe ask the question, or you could just try and get forgiveness. Sometimes they say that forgiveness is better than permission. So read the contract and just see if it says anything about short lets. But the fact that you can get 2 lodgers in is amazing. And you don't pay tax up to the first £7,500 because you get bedroom relief tax. So sounds to me like either way, you're onto a bit of a winner there. So great stuff. Last question. Nick Malvarn. I know you say it's better to rent a property than to own one as your own home. My question is, if you already own your own home, should you rent it out and rent another property? Can you help with this? Thanks. Nick, great question, man. Great question. So if you already own a house, then I would probably consider 3 options. Option number 1, I don't think I'd rent the house out and then go and rent somewhere else. I don't think that's gonna really achieve much. I might consider number 1, I might consider selling the house and then with the profits, investing that into multiple properties. And then with the rental income that you're making from all these properties, rent your home. That would be a good option. Option number 2 is I might consider staying in the house, and if there's equity in the home, refinancing and releasing some of those funds from the house, and then staying in the house, getting a higher mortgage, but then using the equity to buy multiple homes to rent out and increase your passive income cash flow. That would be a reasonable option. Or option number 3, if there's not much equity in the house, and if it's, you're on a help to buy, or it's a house, it's a shared ownership, or if there's just not much equity, or if you particularly like the house, you could just say, you know what, I'm just gonna stay here, and then just stay in the house and build up your portfolio the usual way. So those are probably the best 3 options. And if you're not sure what to do, what I would consider doing is do a case study for each one. So say, look, if we did decide to sell, what would life look like? What would we buy? What would our financial situation be in? If we did decide to refinance, what do the figures look like? If we decide, and just do split test each 3 examples and work out which one's going to give you, number 1, the best financial set of circumstances, but number 2, lifestyle. Sometimes people just like their own home. Maybe you're married, and if you sold the house, your wife would kill you, in which case it's probably not worth it. So I hope that helps. I hope you enjoyed the Q&A. Don't forget, hit like. Doesn't cost anything. Costs nothing to smash the like button. Drop your comment or question below, and I'll be answering next week. God bless.